Hi friends, it's Mari. I'm back today with another project for Honeybee Stamps. Today we're going to be making this sweet little slimline card scene. I'm going to be using the Toy Store House Builder dies, and I'm also going to be using the Woodland Winter Animal stamps and dies, as well as Santa's Village stamp set and coordinating dies. I'm going to start off here by cutting the tree die, or using the tree die from the Toy Story House Builder add-on set. And this little set of trees is so adorable. It just creates this really, really sweet little layered tree. And I'm just cutting it from a light green cardstock here, and I've cut it multiple times to create 3 layered trees for my little slimline scene here today. So I'm just going to set those aside now, and I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of stamping using Santa's Village and the Woodland Winter Animal sets. Love these sets. They're large, and there's so many different little images that you can use in these sets to create really adorable little cards and scenes, or all kinds of different holiday projects. I'm going to start off by stamping out some Memento Tuxedo black ink and the images that I've chosen here from those different sets onto some Nina Solar White cardstock, and I'm going to do a little bit of Copic coloring here on my little images. So I've just shown you there the colors that I'm using, either by showing the actual marker or the caps, or I've put the color on the screen there for you where you can't see the cap. And I'm just doing a really, really simple 2-color blend for the most part for most of the little parts of the images that I'm coloring here. So for example, for the snowman's cap, I'm using C5 and 7, starting off with a lighter color and then going in with a darker color to do a little bit of really simple shading. There's nothing really complicated here at all about the Copic coloring that I'm doing. It's just really, really simple and a really quick way to color up your images and get them all ready to go. And I did just do some really, really simple coloring and quick coloring here for these 2 sweet little images. This little deer, I'm doing a bunch of E40s, starting with E40, my lightest color, on the little face and tummy of my little deer, and then going in with the darker colors for the rest of the body, the antlers, the hooves, etc., just creating a little bit of contrast with the different colors. And so for the deer, I did do a larger number of colors and shading, just to create a little bit of dimension in the different fur areas. So, and then the little scarf is just going to be a really simple blend of pinks and greens, and just trying to keep this a really fun and festive looking card with, I guess perhaps maybe just not quite as traditional Christmas colors as you might expect with the pinks and greens, etc. Now I'm taking a piece of cardstock. This is kind of like a minty blue, a minty greeny blue kind of a color. And the nice thing about blending onto a colored cardstock is some of your colors already there for you. So I'm only blending on with 2 colors of oxide inks. I'm using Broken China and Stormy Sky to create a little sky area for my scene. So I started off by blending on that Broken China with my Honeybee blending brushes here, and then went in with a little bit of Stormy Sky. And this just creates a little bit of dimension for that sky area for my card. I really like how this turns out, and I am going to use this as a layer on my card panel for the front of my little slimline card here. So there you can see my slimline base. My slimline card front base is it's 3.5 by 8.5. And I've just trimmed that out there, that card panel out, to build the rest of my scene. There you can see I've stuck the sky portion of my scene down. And now I've taken the Horizon Slimline border dies from Honeybee Stamps, and I created a cloudy portion to my sky. And there's the die that I used there. I love those Horizon Slimline border dies. They're fantastic. I also used that same set to create a little snowbank section here out of a little bit of iridescent glittery paper. And I will link up to the different products that I have used for this process in the description box below. If you go ahead and just click that show more link down below the video, it will expand, and you'll see in the description box the different products that I used from Honeybee Stamps today. So I've got that scene all kind of starting to develop there. Now I'm going to go ahead and do some details on these little Christmas trees. So what I wanted to do to create a little bit of dimension with the trees is to do a little bit of Distress Oxide blending onto those as well. I'm going to use a little bit of pine needle and my smallest honeybee blending brush here, and I'm going to actually stick those together with some glue dots when I'm finished. So I'm just going to go ahead and add that green color just to the very tips of those needles. And what I find really interesting, again, with doing the ink blending onto that color cardstock, is it takes way less ink and it takes way less time, and I think it's just super effective as well. So I do like blending onto color cardstock in that way. So there you can just see how those are going to look when they're all layered together. And like I said, I am taking just some little glue dots, and I'm actually doubling the glue dots up so that I get a little bit more dimension, and I'm going to stick the different layers of the trees together. Now I am only going to create 3 trees and 3 trees that are each a different size. So the cool thing about that die set from the Toy Story House Builder set for these little trees is that you can make your trees a variety of different sizes, right? You could just use that tiniest little layer for a tree, or you could do the 2 layers, the 3 layers, 4 layers, whatever, so that your trees can be as big as you want. Now, before I go ahead and put my scene together, I want to go ahead and stamp my sentiment into the sky area of my little scene. I'm going to be using the Merry Christmas sentiment, and that comes from the Santa's Village set. I'm going to stamp it out with some VersaFine Clair Nocturne ink, which is just a really nice crisp ink, and it is a slower drying ink so that I can actually do a little bit of embossing over that. So I'm going to go ahead and take that out and put a little bit of clear embossing powder over that sticky black ink, and that embossing powder is going to stick to that ink, and then I'll just melt that embossing powder with my heat tool, which I actually forgot to record, but I just went ahead and shot that hot air over top of that sentiment, and it melts that embossing powder, and you get that really nice shiny dimensional sentiment. Now I'm going to go ahead and start building my little scene here, but I'm going to just put everything down, sort of like tack it down with my tape runner, and then I'll go in with liquid adhesive after I'm done and stick everything down so that it's more permanent. And you can see those little tree stumps. I've die cut those out. I'm going to show you the die here. This is a die from the Toy Store House Builder set, and I'm not exactly sure what it's meant for specifically. You could use it for a bunch of different things in that, for that little toy store house. You could, make a window out of that or whatever, or you could use it for your tree stump. So I actually use that in some brown cardstock. Now you can just see I've kind of spaced out my trees, and I'm trying to create a little bit of depth in my scene here by showing or placing my little bits here and there. And I did also show you there, I used the Slimline Sentiments eyelet die to create that little eyelet scallop border for my little scene here. I like how that finishes it off. Now, so I'm just going to kind of, place these around my card, trying to make it look like the snowman's a little bit farther back, and that maybe the reindeer, the little deer, is to the front of the scene, and so on. I thought about using another tree in there, but I decided not to. I felt like I had enough trees in my little scene. So I'm just kind of, like I said, getting a sense of where I want everything before I get it stuck down. Now I'm taking some Wink of Stella. I'm going over the snowman and the deer just to add a little bit of shimmer and sparkle to those 2 elements. I really like how that finishes them off. I think it just looks, a little bit more festive, and definitely with the holiday card, it's fun to add that sparkle and shine for sure. Although if you follow me, you know that I really like sparkle on basically all of my cards. So then I'm just going to take a little bit of white gel pen, and I'm going to take some time to painstakingly add these little snowflake dots to all of the different little areas where you can see the white. And I'm trying to vary the size of the snowflakes that I'm adding just to give them a little bit more of a realistic snowflake look. So I'm adding some larger dots and some smaller dots, and I'm trying to add those to all of the different areas on my card where they're going to show. So I'm adding those to all of the trees I'm adding them to the sky area. I'm adding them to the deer and to the snowman, to all of the different little spots, even to the little stumps of the trees, so that it looks like it is a really nice snowy scene. Now, this is the Happy Hanukkah stamp set, and I am going to take one of the little star or snowflake dies, stamps from that set, and I'm going to stamp those out in 3 different spots in the sky area with black ink, just because I thought that it then helps tie in that Merry Christmas, which is black and pretty bold. So it just puts in a little bit more black there. Now I also stamped and colored that sweet little bird from the Woodland Winter Animal set, just because I felt like I needed another little critter over by that small tree. And I like the scale and size of that little bird to go along with that smaller tree. Now I'm adding some star dust stickles here to my card, just to add a little bit more sparkle here and there. And I love how that finishes off my card. And my card's going to be all done once I'm finished applying these stickles. Make sure you check out the description box below for all of the information to links to Honeybee Stamps and Facebook and Instagram and the blog, etc. And also to all of the different products that I used today to create my project. I had so much fun with this. I love creating holiday cards, and I definitely love using all of these amazing products from Honeybee Stamps to do so. So I hope you enjoyed this today. I hope you were inspired to make a holiday project. I do love this time of year, and especially this year, I think we need to focus on making fun stuff and just getting creative and enjoying our time in our craft spaces. Have an amazing day, everyone. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you next week for another Honeybee Stamps project. Bye-bye.